Here's a cold start of a 1972 Chevy Monte Carlo. Morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to the channel. We are back again here in SoCal with my cousin's 1972 Chevy Monte Carlo. This one, you saw it do that thing. So yeah, there's a lot more tricks for this car and a lot of custom stuff so he's done. So yeah, we're gonna go out with him and he's gonna talk all about it. All right, folks, we are over here at the Great Park in Irvine, the 72 Monte Carlo. And yeah, let's start off with like, when did you buy this car?
I bought this car, funny story actually with that. I bought this car in February of 2011. Funny story that goes along with that. I ended up buying the car on a Friday. Found out I was having a baby on that very next Tuesday.
Wow.
So I'm like, wow, all right, I get the car. And then I found out I was having a kid that following Tuesday, so I was able to enjoy the car over the weekend. Now I'm like saying, okay, should we sell the car and buy diapers? I don't know, my first kid, you know. We were like, nah, you know what? We're doing good. At least we have something that we can fall back on in case we fall on rough times. 10 years later, here we go, 2021, 10 years later, I never had to sell it, you know what I mean? So I'm pretty fortunate and pretty grateful I'd never had to do that. Now, how I got the car was pretty crazy too. Found it on Craigslist from some dude out in South San Francisco. Went to go check it out. He was being deployed to Afghanistan. So he needed it to leave some money for his kids and family. Kind of a messed up story that goes along with it. His son at the time was 14 and was promised the car to him from his dad. While his dad was away and being deployed back and forth, the kid was just messing up, you know what I mean? Involved in gangs and all that stuff. We're talking before 14 years old. So he was not, you know, not holding up his end of the deal. And so when the dad came back from one of his deployments and found out all of this BS that the kid was doing, that's when he put the car up for sale. Wow. I felt bad the day that I was actually taking the car home. It kind of breaks my heart in a sense because the kid was sitting in the driver's seat, you know, and we walked out of the guy's house after signing over the pink slip to find his son sitting in the driver's seat of this car. Man, you know, talking about it is like, damn, that's kind of jacked up, because then I look at it like with my son, I'm not promising my son this car, but you know, he's gonna build his own. To think about that, like, you know, I almost feel like I took away a father-son project. However, that was also a lesson, hardcore lesson that his son learned. Anyway, so I ended up taking the car with me. It was like a straight muscle car, had rally rims on it, the white letter walls on it. I love that look on it, but I'm not a street racer guy, you know. I like that lifestyle stuff, but hey, low and slow, right? Yeah. That's what I'm about. So I ended up taking off the white letter walls. I actually still have them in my storage room in San Francisco. Yeah, I still got the beauty rims on it. The center caps all originally from the car from 1972, because I'm not going to get rid of them. I just don't put those tires on because it wouldn't go with the look now, you know. So after I took the car, started doing some more work to it, ended up putting an air ride system in it. And the story behind the air ride, how that came about, was I was in the middle of picking hydraulics or air ride system, and at the same time we were deciding if we were going to move to Hawaii and which island we were going to move to, Oahu or Maui. The big island was in there as well, but it was really between Oahu and Maui. And I told myself, if we move to Oahu, I'm gonna get hydraulics. A lot of lowrider guys out there. There's a lot of shops out there. Shout out to a lot of the lowriders in Hawaii. Shout out to Uso Hawaii. All those guys out there, they know what they're doing, but I don't know how to weld in case anything breaks. On Maui, I can get away with being on air ride. I know there's a lot more cars on Maui that have air rides over there, so I went the safe route. And that was in 2013. We're in 2021. I have had close to zero problems with this air ride system. So to me, I get asked that questions all the time. Are you going to get hydraulics? The answer is yes. I am going to get hydraulics. But you know what? This system is not giving me any problems. Probably on the way home, this shit's going to fucking explode, but who knows? But this shit is not giving me any problems. So I told myself, let me save the money. Let me get the paint job. Let me get the stripes on it. Let me go ahead and get the interior done, which we'll talk about later. Rework the engine, do up the trunk, do the show car stuff while the car is on air ride. It moves fast. Germs, you can contest to that, right? Yeah. And I'm happy with it. It's 4 switches, front, back, side to side. I have 4 480 compressors, Vivair compressors, and 2 10-gallon tanks. The trunk is filled with spaghetti right now with wires everywhere. We're gonna do a part 2 on this video after the interior, the trunk, and the engine is done, and most likely the car will be in the Bay Area for that one. I get the air ride done. The paint job comes during the air ride install. I had to get a whole new frame, which I'll go into that story here in a little bit. When the car was getting the frame installed and we slapped the frame on and the air ride system was still being worked on, I went to go get the car painted. The car painted comes to you from a very, very, very cool shop in Oakland called V&J's Auto Paint. They're in East Oakland, right in the hood, and they specialize in old cars. I swear to God, I walked into this dude's shop and it was like a pre-car show. And how I say pre-car show is these cars were bare metal, and I see Chevelles, I see Cougars, I see Mustangs, everything from the 60s and 70s. I see another Monte Carlo. I saw one of like the creme de la creme of a 71 Chevelle SS in there, and I'm like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing. And we're talking bare metal work. That's how he got this car bare metaled out. He ended up shaving out the door handles, shaved off the bottom trim, which I'm actually gonna get installed. So I know all you Monte Carlo purists, don't worry, I'm getting all that. The door handles, please forgive me, but so what? Oh, that, you know, I'm gonna end up re-getting those, and I'm gonna have the gentleman that did my pinstripes and graphics, gentleman by the name of Mike Lamberson. And I use gentleman, the term gentleman, very, very, very into high regards to this guy. Mike Lamberson is the best of the best. I am very honored and grateful that he laid his work down on the car. There's not too many great pinstripers. There's a lot of good ones out there, but great, and how I mean great is by customer service. Pricing, it's subjective, but your customer service is not. And your reputation is not as well. And this guy has been around what seems like forever, 70s, 80s, 90s, countless of cover cars for Lowrider magazine, Hot Rod magazine. I'm pretty sure he has some couple of cars in Super Chevy magazine. So this guy is up there. He's out of Riverside, California. Dragon Lines, Mike Lamberson, go ahead and hit him up. He's still doing work, and he is an amazing person. So I'm very, very grateful that he ended up doing the pinstriping on the car. So with that, I ended up going with some silver leafing and some candy apple red leafing over that as well. And I just gave him the car like you're supposed to, and just give it to the artist and let him do his work. If you're very picky about who you get, then learn how to pinstripe. You know, with him, do what you want. This is where my budget is, and he showed me pictures when he was done 3 days before he said he was going to be done. That's what I mean about customer service. He was done well ahead of what he told me he was going to be done. That's the way you're supposed to do it, guys. I ended up falling in love with the car even more. You know, I had the car for so long with just the flaked out paint job, and the paint job that V&J's did, it is bare metal with a black base coat, charcoal gray, and then a pound of charcoal flake over it. So that's the color scheme. If you're wondering, is it black, is it it's charcoal gray with the black base coat, charcoal gray, and a pound. 1 pound is like, that's a pretty big bag of flake. The guy that called me up and was showing me, he had like the front light bezels. He was showing me how the paint job looks, and he texted me. He said, hey man, you're gonna fuck up my paint gun because of all the flake in this gun. He was joking around. Just look at the creation he did. And after he was done with the car, he's like, man, I've never seen a paint job like this. I took that as a compliment, because that guy has been painting old school lowriders from San Francisco and the Bay Area since the 70s. So when I brought him this, he's doing muscle cars, you know, Oakland, the Bay Area, muscle car sideshows, you guys know that. So when he finally got his hands on this, and he knew that I brought it in with older Daytons on it, you know, like the Rusties, everybody knows, bring those in. He was so happy that he knew I was going to convert this into a lowrider, because he's like, I miss painting lowriders, you know. The money's with the muscle cars because of the clientele that keeps bringing them in, these Chevelle, really cool high-end muscle cars. So he ended up putting his touch on the car, and he's so happy with his work. And this paint job here is 2015. We're going on 6 years with this paint job. No, 2013, because it was right before I moved to Hawaii. So I took the car with me from San Francisco to Maui, Hawaii. I lived in Maui for about a year and a half. And then after Maui, Hawaii, we moved back to San Francisco, shipped the car back to Oakland. The day it came back, this is how I know. The guy that's holding the camera, it was his wedding day.
Oh.
And yep, I remember on our way out to the East Bay, I go pick up the car at the Oakland port. Shout out to Port of Oakland. They really took care of the car. They really didn't take care of the car too much in Hawaii, but that's another story. That's another story. Yeah. But over in Oakland, man, they hooked it up. They left it in a really good, clean position for me. I picked up the car, took it to my cousin's wedding, left it at the hotel, enjoyed my cousin's wedding, and then it's been in California since. Moved out to Orange County here at Irvine in 2015. That's when I had the car just basic black. Found Mike Lamberson, took him to get it done. Now, where I'm at now, we're here in April of 2021. Literally right now getting my door panels made from a company called Josh's Muscle Car Parts. They're in the Midwest. Thank you, shout out to them. They're doing my custom door panels and my rear panels as we're filming right now. So sorry, but we're not going to show the interior. There's no headliner. You guys are not missing anything. The front and rear seats do come out of a 2005 Monte Carlo.
Wow.
I wanted to go with something a little new and old, and the seats fit like a glove. So I got the cool armrests, you know, in the rear with cup holder. Yeah, you can see the little airbag thing on the side. That's yeah, interior guy's gonna take care of that. But the seats are all good, and we're eventually gonna hook up the front seats to actually electronically move forward and back. Wow. You know, because they're on the rails and everything. So that's gonna be done because I want to redo the carpet and redo the middle shifter and all that. So but that's what's going on right now. The engine, 350 Chevy engine, we're gonna hold off on that because it's not in the best condition right now. All you guys need to know is that it turns on and it runs, all right? But otherwise than that, how it looks, we'll wait for that afterwards. I got a lot of chrome goodies at the house that I haven't even installed yet. So that's what I'm waiting for. And the way I looked at it for the engine, and I know a lot of car guys can hear me on this, is like you get a lot of cool car parts and they're chrome and they look good, but then the old parts still run good. So I go, all right, I'm just gonna replace all that shit when it breaks and it hasn't broken yet. So chrome water pump, all the chrome brackets. The only thing I had to change is the battery a few times and the alternator. And I got a super high-end, high output alternator because I'm running the compressors and I'm running sound system wise 2 6.5s in the front, 2 6x9s in the back, and 1 12 in the trunk. And it rattles a lot, man. Oh, it hits. Yeah, 1,000-watt amp that I split everything out, bridge out the 12-inch. It sounds amazing. Part 2, what we're gonna include is the final trunk setup. We're gonna do what they call a gangster trunk, where we're gonna put the panels on it. We're gonna, you know, customize it to color match everything. With the interior, once I get my door panels back and everything, then that's when everything will get installed, along with the headliner. And then the engine, I said eventually I'll throw in all those chrome goodies. But right now, the car starts, it gets me to Hollywood, it gets me to Whittier Boulevard, it gets me all around where I need to go, it gets me to Riverside whenever I need to go. All the hardcore cruises, the no man's land cruises in Santa Ana. Shout out to Tito for putting on those. Easter weekend, real quick, and it was surprised the car didn't overheat. A lot of cars were overheating, but goddamn, those cruises are a lot of fun. And I just want, hey, if the car can survive a no man's land cruise, your car runs good. Screw the smog checks, man. You know what I say, your car passes smog, it runs good. If your car can make it through a no man's land cruise in Santa Ana, your shit runs good. So shout out Tito, man. Can't wait for the next one. All right, guys, that's all I got for you until part 2. We'll come back.